There is a level of discipline that makes others look at you with a mix of respect and unease. Today, you'll learn exactly how to reach that point. You've probably noticed those rare people who never slip, who get up at the same time every day, follow the same routines, and simply keep going. When most people quit by the third week, they continue. When others offer excuses, they still show up. And you'll often hear people say, "That's not normal." There's an old method developed by Zen monks in Japan that creates this kind of impressive consistency. It's called gwoji, a practice designed to sustain itself. Once you understand how it works, you'll stop abandoning your goals. But there's a warning. This system isn't made for everyone. It requires you to let go of a part of yourself you may not even realize is holding you back. Before I explain how it functions, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment with the habit you most want to build. It helps the channel and shows you're committed to improving. Let's begin. The story I'm about to share is about a programmer named Raphael. Intelligent, steady career, earning a six-figure salary, living in a good apartment. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. But he had one issue. One serious, frustrating issue that kept him awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling. He couldn't maintain any habit for longer than 2 weeks. The gym? He quit after 2 months. Meditation? 1 week and he stopped. Reading? He'd buy a book, read 3 pages, then leave it in a drawer. Learning a new language? 3 lessons on Duolingo before telling himself he didn't have time. The pattern never changed. Monday, full motivation. He'd wake up at 5 a.m. feeling unstoppable, ready to take on everything. His mind created vivid pictures of the person he would become: fit, focused, and steady. By Wednesday, the first internal negotiation started. "I'm a little tired today. Maybe I'll wake up at 6 a.m. instead. 1 hour won't hurt. I'll make it up tomorrow. I still get credit for trying, right?" By Friday, he surrendered completely. The alarm rang. He turned it off without even realizing it. The habit was gone. The goal faded quickly. Sunday arrived with new promises for the upcoming week. "Monday, I'll start again. This time will be different. I'll truly commit. I'll plan better. I'll be more realistic." But Monday came, and the cycle repeated endlessly. A loop of broken commitments. Raphael tried everything. Habit-tracking apps filled with streaks and badges that made him feel productive without real progress. Reward systems where he planned to treat himself after milestones, but he never reached them. Accountability partners who checked on him each morning until they eventually stopped because he kept missing the mark. Motivational videos that energized him for about 48 hours before the feeling faded, like a temporary boost wearing off. He read every popular book: Atomic Habits, The Power of Habit, Tiny Habits, The 5 a.m. Club, Deep Work. He could quote them. He understood the ideas: dopamine loops, habit stacking, implementation intentions, and the 2-minute rule. Lack of knowledge wasn't his issue. Nothing worked because Raphael was battling something he couldn't see. Something built into the structure of his own mind. Here's what he didn't grasp yet. Your brain is not built to help you grow. It's built to keep you alive. And in your brain's ancient operating system, the same one humans had 50,000 years ago, survival means saving energy and staying away from risk. Every new habit you try to build is flagged as a potential threat. Your brain views it as unnecessary effort. Why wake up at 5 a.m. if you could sleep longer and conserve energy? Why go to the gym when the couch is safe and familiar? Why read when you could scroll and let your mind relax? Your current routines, hitting snooze, ordering food, watching shows late into the night, aren't bad habits to your brain. They're energy-saving behaviors. They're comfortable, predictable, and automatic. When you try to override them with willpower, you're asking your small conscious mind to fight millions of years of evolution. And in that conflict, evolution wins every time. Eventually, the issue isn't if you'll break. It's when. Raphael realized he needed something different. Something not dependent on willpower. Something aligned with how the brain naturally works, something lasting. That moment came at 2 a.m. on a random Tuesday. Unable to sleep after another failed attempt at building a morning routine, he found a video about Zen monks. These monks wake up every day at 3:30 a.m. They have done this since the year 1200 AD, over 800 years. Through wars, earthquakes, plagues, and every kind of disruption, the bell rings and they rise. No hesitation, no excuses, no interruptions. Sitting there in the dark, with the screen's glow on his face, Raphael asked himself, what do they know that I don't? The answer would dismantle his old approach and rebuild him into someone new. In Zen temples across Japan, there is a rule that seems simple but transforms everything once understood. Guoji, literally translated, means continuous practice without gaps. Without gaps. Do you understand what that actually means, not just the definition but the reality of it? Let me explain. Since 1200 AD, every day at 3:30 a.m., a bell rings at Ihei Temple, and every day, without exception, for more than 825 years, the monks wake up. Not at 3:25, not at 3:35, exactly at 3:30 a.m. Through the Mongol invasions, civil wars, World War II, and massive earthquakes, no matter what happened, the bell rang and the monks rose. Here's what never occurs in that temple. No monk lies in bed thinking, I'll skip today. I'm tired. One day won't matter. That question simply doesn't exist in their minds. It's not about superhuman discipline. It's about understanding something important about commitment, something you may not fully grasp yet. Your brain places every commitment you make into one of two categories: reversible or irreversible. Reversible commitments create daily negotiations. Should I work out? I'm tired. Maybe tomorrow. I deserve a break. What's one day? I'll make it up. Monday is better anyway. Your brain constantly weighs the discomfort of doing it against the comfort of avoiding it. And most days, comfort wins. Rest wins. Tomorrow wins. Later wins. Irreversible commitments simply happen. When you get married, you don't wake up every day reconsidering whether you're still married. Marriage is difficult today. Maybe I'll be single for just one day. That doesn't occur. When you become a parent, you don't question each Tuesday whether you're still a parent. This is tiring, I'll take a break from being a dad today. The identity has changed. The decision is final. The negotiation ended the moment the commitment became irreversible. When a monk takes his vows before the entire community, when he shaves his head, wears the robes, and speaks the words in front of 100 witnesses, he isn't setting a goal. He isn't making a promise. He isn't hoping to become something. He is changing his identity in that moment. He isn't promising to try to meditate. He is declaring himself a meditator. The community witnesses it. The identity moves from one state to another. The negotiation ends completely. A Harvard neuroscientist who has studied habits for 15 years discovered something remarkable about public commitments and identity. When you make a behavior public, the primitive part of your brain treats potential failure as a threat to survival. Think about it from an evolutionary point of view. Our ancestors lived in tribes of roughly 150 people. That group provided safety, food, and survival. Losing status in that tribe, being seen as unreliable or someone who couldn't keep their word, could lead to being pushed out. And being removed from the tribe meant danger. Alone in the wild with predators and hostile groups, you wouldn't last long. Your modern brain still runs on this old programming. When failure is private, it's uncomfortable, disappointing, and frustrating. But you survive. When failure is public, when others know, when your reputation is involved, your brain treats it as extremely serious, almost life-threatening. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, reacts strongly. That's exactly what Raphael did. He stopped making private promises and began making public declarations. He took a real piece of paper, not a phone note or digital file, but something physical, and he wrote, I am a person who meditates 20 minutes every day at 5 a.m. for 90 consecutive days. Not I'll try, not my goal is, not I hope to, not I want to. I am. A present tense identity statement, firm and non-negotiable. He signed it, dated it, and posted it everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. He sent it to his family group chat. He told his girlfriend. He told his coworkers. He even mentioned it to the barista who knew his name. His girlfriend thought it was unnecessary. You're overreacting. Why tell everyone? Can't you just do it quietly? His coworker laughed. You're trying too hard. Why add this pressure? Just do it privately. Perfect. Those reactions confirmed he was on the right path. Every person who knew created more accountability. Every person who doubted gave him motivation. Every skeptical look or casual, "Let's see how long this lasts," became fuel. Each morning he wanted to quit, he imagined facing all those people. Imagining posting online that he failed after 3 days. Imagining telling his girlfriend he quit again. Imagining his coworker smirking, already knowing the outcome. The thought was unbearable. Day 3 brought the first serious challenge. The alarm rang at 5 a.m. Raphael had been out late at a work event and slept barely 4 hours. His body felt heavy. The bed felt perfect. Immediately, his mind began generating the usual stream of convincing excuses. "You're exhausted. This isn't healthy. Rest is more important. You read an article about that. One day won't matter. Meditate longer tomorrow. This is about health, not ego. Successful people know when to rest. You might get sick if you keep pushing yourself." Every excuse sounded reasonable. Every justification felt intelligent. Every thought felt protective, not harmful. But something major had changed. The idea of publicly admitting failure after just 3 days was worse than the discomfort of doing the practice. The idea of facing his girlfriend at breakfast and explaining he quit again felt worse than waking up early. The idea of his coworker asking, "How's that meditation thing going?" felt even worse. The pain of quitting became greater than the pain of continuing. He got up. He sat on the meditation cushion. He started the timer. 20 minutes. His mind raced. His body resisted. The discomfort was loud. But he stayed still. Present with the tension. Present with the resistance. Present with the internal noise. After 20 minutes, it was done. The public declaration ended the negotiation about whether he would practice. But Raphael soon learned that this was only step 1. The internal conflict was not resolved yet. Even with public pressure and reputation on the line, Raphael still faced daily resistance. His body didn't care about social expectations or online posts. His body wanted sleep when tired. It wanted comfort and familiar routines. Preferred the easy path. The public declaration had ended the question of if he would meditate. But he was still negotiating when, "Maybe I'll do it at 6 a.m. instead. Or 7 a.m. Or after work. Or before bed. 5 a.m. isn't special. I can meditate anytime. Flexibility is good. Rigidity is unhealthy. I should listen to my body." That's when he discovered the monk's second principle. Non-negotiable hours. Every day, people waste enormous mental energy asking the same unnecessary question. When should I do this? Now or after breakfast? Morning or night? Before or after work? 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.? This afternoon or tonight? Today or tomorrow when I feel more motivated? This constant decision-making drains measurable mental energy, glucose your brain needs for actual performance. You waste your willpower deciding when to start instead of starting. Stanford researchers call this decision fatigue. It's why judges give more paroles in the morning. It's why people choose healthy meals early in the day but order takeout at night. By the time you finish debating when to work out, you've already spent the willpower you needed to exercise. Raphael chose 5 a.m. Not because he was a morning person. He wasn't. Not because he loved sunrises or felt spiritual. Not because productivity experts recommended mornings. He chose 5 a.m. because the world was quiet. No messages, no emails, no notifications, no distractions, no demands, no excuses. The time wasn't about being optimal, it was about removing every reason to delay. The first week was extremely difficult. His body resisted every morning. The alarm would ring and his hand reached to turn it off before he fully woke up. He lay there thinking it felt unnatural, uncomfortable, and wrong. His body insisted that humans shouldn't wake up in the dark, that this was harmful. And that reaction was completely normal. Your body is a biological machine the body operates through patterns. It runs on routines. It has followed the same morning sequence for years, sometimes decades. Wake up slowly. Hit snooze twice. Check the phone in bed. Move toward the coffee maker. Now he was forcing his body to create a completely new pattern. Naturally, it resisted. Naturally, it pushed back. Naturally, it tried to protect the old routine. But in the second week, things shifted. Day 9. Raphael woke up 3 minutes before the alarm. Day 10. 5 minutes before. Day 12. He was fully awake before the alarm even sounded, lying in the dark, waiting for it. His body had started preparing for what it understood was now unavoidable. His internal clock was shifting. His cortisol levels were adjusting. His body temperature began rising earlier. On day 14, something important happened. The alarm rang, and before he consciously registered the sound, before a single thought formed, his feet were already on the floor. No discussion, no delay, no decision, just automatic movement. His body accepted the new pattern. The resistance faded. The internal struggle ended. Here's what most people misunderstand about fixed hours, and what Raphael was only starting to recognize. It's not about finding the ideal schedule. It's not about whether morning or evening fits your chronotype. It's not about working with natural energy cycles. It's about removing time as a variable altogether. When you perform a habit at different times each day, your brain must decide every single time. Do I do it now or later? Is this the right moment? How do I feel? What else is happening? Maybe after this other task. When the time is fixed, consistent, unchanging, your brain loses the ability to argue. The question disappears. The negotiation ends. But then Raphael uncovered a new challenge. His schedule was fixed at 5 a.m. That problem was solved. But he kept changing what he did during that time. Some mornings he preferred meditation. Other days he started with stretching. Sometimes he did breath work. Other times a body scan. Sometimes he read before meditating. Sometimes after. The time was steady, but the practice was inconsistent. His brain adapted and found a new loophole, arguing not about when but about what. Should I use breath meditation today or mantra meditation? Maybe loving kindness feels better this morning. What about walking meditation? Is sitting meditation right for my body? The 20 minutes at 5 a.m. were reliable, but the content was unpredictable, driven by mood, preference, and impulse. The fixed hour solved half the problem, but the brain was still negotiating. He removed the when, but not the what. This led to Dogen's teaching on form, a principle that many today find extreme. It can sound rigid or obsessive, but it was central to his philosophy. He taught that you must perform the exact same practice, in the exact same way, at the exact same time, in the exact same place, every day, until the mind completely gives up its resistance. Not until you master it. Not until you understand it. Not until you perfect it. But until the practice begins doing itself, until you are not performing it, but it is simply happening through you. So Raphael locked everything down. 20 push-ups. 10 minutes of meditation, always using breath counting. 10 minutes of reading from the same book until finished. Then the next book. Same order every day. Same meditation technique. Same number of push-ups. Never around 20. Never 15 to 25 depending on how I feel. Exactly 20. This became his personal ango, a Zen term for an intensive 90-day period of training. 90 days of identical, unwavering practice. No variation. No flexibility. No adjusting based on what felt right. The form was set. The structure was fixed. His friends said he was becoming robotic. Dude, you're like a machine. It's weird. His girlfriend thought it was unhealthy. You need balance. This is too strict. You're becoming rigid. His coworker joked that he had turned into AI. You used to be spontaneous. What happened to you? They didn't see that the goal was machine-like consistency. Robotic repetition was the point. Rigidity was the goal. That's what produces automatic behavior. That's what eliminates negotiation. That's what creates permanence. By the third week, his mind fought harder than ever. Every morning it demanded variety. This is pointless. You're not a robot. You're human, you need change. This isn't natural. Mix things up or you'll burn out. This can't be sustainable. You're missing out on other techniques. What if there's a better approach? What if this routine isn't ideal for you? Shouldn't you stay flexible, adaptable, and balanced? The inner voice was loud, constant, and convincing. It sounded reasonable. It sounded thoughtful. It sounded healthy. But it was only his old patterns trying to survive. In the fourth week, something finally gave way. Not his discipline. Not his commitment. Not his practice. His resistance broke. The voice of negotiation began to fade. Mental arguments that once lasted 5 minutes now lasted 30 seconds. The urge to change things decreased. The need for variety started to feel unnecessary. His body was learning the sequence the same way a dancer memorizes choreography, a musician internalizes music, or your hands type without looking. By week 6, halfway through his ango, something impressive happened. He was halfway through his push-ups before he even realized he had begun. His hand reached for the same book automatically. His timer was running before he recalled starting it. The practice was beginning to run on its own. The action was happening without conscious effort. This is what people misunderstand about consistency, and what Raphael never grasped from all the books and videos he consumed. It's not about maintaining willpower forever. Willpower is limited. It drains. It fades like a battery. The goal is repetition until willpower isn't needed at all. An MIT neuroscientist, Dr. Grail, who has studied behavioral automation for more than 12 years, found something profound about habit formation. She discovered that repeating the same behavior in the same context, same time, same place, same sequence, for roughly 66 days triggers a major shift in the brain. The basal ganglia, the ancient part of the brain responsible for automatic actions like walking and breathing, begins taking control. The behavior moves from the prefrontal cortex, conscious effort, into the basal ganglia, automatic function. It becomes effortless, natural, and inevitable. You're not deciding to do it, you're simply doing it. Then came day 35. Raphael woke up with the flu. 102-degree fever, body aches, chills, dizziness, the works. Standing felt difficult. This is where the old Raphael would have surfaced. Sick day equals rest day. Start again when healthy. Skipping a few days due to illness is normal. Anyone would understand. Even monks rest when they're sick. Health comes first. Every excuse was reasonable. Every justification made sense. Day 40 brought a bigger challenge. Business travel. A 4 a.m. flight, meetings all day, hotel gym closed. No quiet space for meditation. Complete disorder. This was another situation where the old Raphael would have stopped. Perfect justification. No one would blame him. I'll restart when I return. This trip is an exception. You can't meditate in an airport. It's not realistic. I'll make up for it later. But something had changed deeply and permanently. Something beyond discipline or willpower. Because he finally understood what Dogen meant when he wrote, "Practice must continue without even a moment of gap." The all-or-nothing mindset has destroyed more consistency than laziness ever has. It has ended more dreams than fear. It has blocked more transformations than doubt. You tell yourself, if I can't do the full 20 minutes, there's no point. If I can't do perfect push-ups, I'll wait for tomorrow. If conditions aren't ideal, I'll start again another day. This thinking creates gaps. And gaps are where your old self returns. Gaps are where old habits reappear. Gaps are where the practice dies. Look at top athletes and you'll notice something most people misread. They have rest days. They take recovery periods. They do light sessions. People see this and believe it shows flexibility. But those rest days are still practice. Those recovery phases are still progress. Those lighter sessions keep momentum. They are intentional and planned, not because they feel lazy or unmotivated or tempted by comfort. A rest day supports the next training day. It is strategic recovery, still moving toward the goal. But when you skip because you're tired, that's not rest. That's not planned. That's not strategic. That's pulling back. Dogen used a metaphor that transforms how you see consistency. A river never stops flowing. During drought, it may slow. In extreme heat, it may almost vanish. But it continues moving. Even a few drops still count. The moment it stops entirely, it's no longer a river. It becomes a dry bed, just a memory of flowing water. That's the end. Your practice works the same way. The moment you stop completely, take a full break, skip an entire day, you're no longer practicing. You become someone who used to practice. A past tense version of yourself. Day 35. Raphael woke up at 5 a.m. with a 102-degree fever. His body was exhausted. His muscles hurt. His head pounded. The old voice returned, sounding logical and caring. Rest. You're sick. You need recovery. This is a valid reason. Start again when you're better. Even monks take breaks when they're truly ill. But Raphael had written a pre-solution for this exact scenario. Weeks before, when he was healthy and thinking clearly, is sick, 2 push-ups, 2 minutes of meditation, 1 page of reading. He rolled out of bed, more like fell out. He did 2 awful push-ups. His arms shook. His form was poor. They barely counted. It didn't matter. He sat for 2 minutes. He struggled to focus. His mind drifted. His head hurt. It didn't matter. He read 1 page. He barely absorbed anything. He reread lines multiple times. It didn't matter. The practice continued. The river kept flowing. The gap never formed. His streak remained unbroken, not because he was strong that day, but because he was smart weeks earlier. Day 40, travel day. Alarm at 4 a.m. Airport at 5 a.m. Meetings all day. Gym closed. No quiet room. Total chaos. The old Raphael would have said, "Impossible. This can't be done. I'll restart when I'm home." But the new Raphael had already prepared for this. If traveling, adjust the time and location, never the practice. So he did his 20 push-ups in the airport bathroom. Yes, in the airport bathroom, between the sinks and the paper towel dispenser at 5 a.m. After finishing and brushing his teeth, people walked in, saw a man in business clothes doing push-ups, and quietly stepped back out, confused. Perfect. He meditated in the Uber on the way to his meeting. The driver likely assumed he was sleeping. 10 minutes of meditation with city traffic and low radio noise. Not perfect, not ideal, but consistent. He read on the plane. 10 minutes while waiting for takeoff, and actually managed to read more than usual because he had extra time. Nothing was perfect. Nothing was ideal. Nothing was optimized. But everything kept moving forward. This is Guji. This is practice sustaining itself. This is what perpetual truly means. That's when people around him began noticing the shift. Co-workers pointed it out. You seem different lately, more focused. There's a new intensity about you. It's a little intimidating. Friends started pulling back slightly. You're getting obsessed with this routine. It's getting odd. You're not as fun as before. His girlfriend's friends even asked her, "He seems really rigid. Is everything okay?" That's not normal behavior. Someone at work even told him directly, "Your discipline isn't healthy. Normal people don't act like that. You need more balance." When you hear comments like these, you know you're on the right path. Normal people get normal outcomes. Normal people start in January and quit in February. Normal people dream but rarely follow through. You're not aiming to be normal. You're not here to be comfortable. You're not interested in balance if balance means settling. You're trying to become reliable, steady, unshakable. But here's what no one warns you about, what no video explains, what books rarely capture: the unexpected obstacles. The things you never planned for because you didn't know they existed. Your child gets sick at 2 a.m. Your car breaks down on the way to the gym. Your boss calls an emergency meeting during your planned practice time. Your power goes out. Your internet dies during an online workout. A family emergency pulls you out of town. Your phone breaks. Your alarm doesn't ring. You oversleep for the first time in months. These are the real consistency killers, not because they're impossible, but because you haven't pre-decided how to handle them. Each unexpected problem forces you to make choices under stress, pressure, and inconvenience. And in that moment of chaos, your brain defaults to comfort. Your stressed mind chooses the easiest option. Your overwhelmed system chooses survival, not growth. The obstacle wins because you weren't prepared. You're making decisions in the moment, exactly when you're least capable of making good ones. Zen monasteries have maintained daily practice for centuries without missing a single day. Earthquakes leveled nearby cities. Wars lasted decades. Famines killed millions. Floods, fires, plagues, economic collapse. Yet the practice continued. How? They don't make decisions when obstacles appear. The solutions were created long before, sometimes generations earlier, by masters who anticipated every situation. When the meditation hall floods, they move to the dining hall. When the dining hall burns, they sit in the courtyard. When the courtyard is covered in snow, they practice in their rooms. When earthquakes make indoor spaces unsafe, they go outside. There's no debate, no confusion, no hesitation. No, what should we do? The bell rings, and the response is automatic. Practice continues. Raphael spent an entire evening doing something that would save him dozens of times in the months ahead. He wrote down every obstacle that had ever broken his consistency, every excuse he'd used, every situation that had ended a streak. Then he pre-solved each one in advance. Raining push-ups in the garage. Snowing push-ups in the living room. Guests staying over, silent workout in the bathroom at 5 a.m. Power outage, meditation by candlelight. Reading with a flashlight. Traveling, check hotel gyms before booking, or pack resistance bands. Hotel gym closed. Push-ups in the room, hallway, or stairwell. Sick, minimum viable practice. 2 push-ups, 2 minutes meditation, 1 page of reading. Injured, adjust the practice, wall push-ups, seated meditation, audiobook if eyes hurt. Hangover, which shouldn't happen, but if it does, the same minimum practice applies. 0 excuses. Family emergency. Practice in the hospital waiting room. Airport terminal, practice there. In the car, practice there too. Flight cancelled, practice in the airport. Woke up late, shorten the session, never skip it. Every scenario already had a predetermined response. When X happens, I do Y. No thinking in the moment. No decisions under pressure. No negotiating with a stressed brain. No improvising when overwhelmed. When situation A occurs, response B is automatic. The real power here isn't only in keeping the routine alive. It's in protecting your mental energy. A Yale behavioral psychologist who has studied decision-making for 20 years discovered something essential about predecisions. When you choose your actions before the crisis, you remove decision fatigue at the moment when your willpower is weakest. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for willpower, planning, and executive function, stays free to execute instead of debate. You're not burning mental energy asking, "What should I do?" You already know. All you need is energy to follow through. Day 70. Raphael's practice had become fully automatic. So automatic it felt strange at times. He would wake up and realize he was already 10 minutes into meditation without remembering starting. His body moved through the routine like a program system. His alarm would ring and his feet were on the floor before he was fully aware. 20 push-ups were done while his thoughts were still settling. His book opened to the right page without recalling picking it up. Then his girlfriend's mother came to stay for a week, a guest sleeping on the couch where he usually practiced. Every morning at 5 a.m., he quietly went to the bathroom. 20 push-ups on the bathroom mat. 10 minutes of meditation sitting on the closed toilet lid. 10 minutes of reading with a small book light. His girlfriend's mother never knew. The practice continued silently. The obstacle had been solved months earlier. Day 90. He finished his personal ango. 3 full months of uninterrupted practice. 90 days with no gaps. But something more profound had happened. Something beyond discipline, habits, or routine. He was no longer the person who began. The man who couldn't stay consistent for more than 2 weeks no longer existed. Someone entirely new had taken his place. Friends even said, "Your consistency is scary. The way you show up every single day, it's not normal. It feels intimidating." His answer was perfect. Good. Because when your discipline makes others uncomfortable, you're finally operating at the right level. When people use words like obsessive, extreme, or intense, it means you've stepped beyond average. Your existence becomes proof. proof that what others call impossible is simply uncomfortable. That's why they call you obsessive. Don't you think you're taking this too seriously? That's why they say you need balance. All work and no play, you know? That's why they tell you to relax. You need to take days off. That's why they insist you're too rigid. Flexibility is important. They need you to slow down so they can feel better about slowing down. They need you to quit so they can justify quitting. They need you to stay normal so they don't have to face their own inconsistency. Here's what people don't acknowledge about transformation. What Raphael discovered: you become a mirror. When they see someone who never gives up, they're forced to face their own broken commitments. When they watch you show up every day, they remember the gym memberships they wasted, the books they never finished, the goals they abandoned. Your consistency isn't frightening because it's extreme. It's frightening because it's proof. Proof that excuses are lies. Proof that "I don't have time" means it's not a priority. Proof that "I'm too tired" means I chose comfort. Proof that growth is available to anyone willing to pay the price. And most people, even many watching this video, aren't willing to pay it. They want the results without the routine, the transformation without the repetition, the discipline without the discomfort. But you're not doing this for them. You're not here to make them comfortable. You're not performing for approval. You're doing it because you've learned the truth. Consistency isn't about doing something daily. It's about becoming someone who can't live any other way. When you apply the Gwoji system, all 5 elements together: a public declaration that makes failure painfully costly, a fixed schedule that removes when negotiations, an identical routine that removes what negotiations, continuous practice that eliminates gaps, pre-solved answers that prevent decision-making under stress. You're not just forming habits. You're not just building discipline. You're not just improving. You're reshaping your identity. You stop being someone who tries. You become someone who is. And when that happens, when the old you is gone and the new you has fully taken over, people will look at you and ask, how do they do that? How do they keep showing up? What's their secret? And the answer is simple. They don't try. They are. Raphael isn't someone who meditates. He's a meditator. He isn't someone who exercises. He's an athlete. He isn't someone who reads. He's a reader. The practice no longer needs willpower because it's no longer separate from who he is. It's not something he does. It's part of his identity. Now the real question. Are you ready for this level of transformation? And this requires absolute clarity, no motivational sugarcoating. This isn't about discipline. This isn't about willpower. This isn't about trying harder. This is about ending one version of yourself and creating another. The end of the inconsistent self. The one that makes excuses, negotiates with itself, retreats when uncomfortable, chooses ease over excellence. That version has to be gone, permanently. And the beginning of your unbreakable self. The one who keeps promises, who continues no matter what, whose consistency unsettles others, whose presence shows what's possible. The Gwoji system doesn't make you better. It makes you different. People will look at you and think, that's not normal. That's not balanced. That's not human. And when you hear those words and understand what they really mean, you'll know you've reached the place you've been aiming for. Here's your choice. Right now, you can watch this, feel inspired for a few days, and slide back into old habits like most people. They'll say, interesting, then go right back to snooze buttons, broken promises, and the comfortable cycle of giving up. Or you can do what Raphael did right now. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not when you feel ready. Right now. Take out a piece of paper, real paper, not your phone. Write your public declaration. Not I'll try. Not my goal is. Not I hope to. Write, I am a person who specific action for specific duration. Every single day. At specific time. For specific number of consecutive days. Sign it. Date it. Make it real. Choose your non-negotiable hour, the same time daily. No flexibility. No listening to your body. No negotiations. Define your practice, same actions, same order, same duration. No variations. No optimization. Just repetition until it becomes automatic. Write your pre-solutions, every obstacle, every excuse, every situation that has stopped you before. Solve them all now while you're thinking clearly. Then make it public. Tell family. Tell friends. Tell coworkers. Post it online. Chaos? Shrink the practice, never the streak. When life falls apart, let it fall while you keep the practice alive. 90 days from now, you won't recognize yourself. People will ask how you changed. They'll look for hacks or shortcuts. They'll hope for a 5-minute secret. And you'll smile because you'll know. There is no shortcut. There is only Gwaji, the practice that sustains itself, the practice that eventually becomes part of your identity. If this video shifted how you view discipline and consistency, and if you're truly ready to change rather than feel motivated for a day or two, here's what you should do right now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. The content that's coming is designed to continue reshaping how you operate. This isn't entertainment. This isn't casual motivation. This is a restructuring of your internal system. More importantly, comment below with your public declaration. What habit will you build using the Gwaji system? Write it openly right now in the comments under this video. Make it real. Make it visible. Make quitting costly. Because here's what I know about you. If you're still watching, it isn't random. You're not here to pass time or watch something light. You're here because a part of you recognizes you can become more. A part of you is tired of being someone who starts strongly and fades away. A part of you is ready to become unshakable. That part of you is correct. That part already knows the truth. You can develop consistency that others find intimidating. You can cultivate discipline that makes people uncomfortable. You can create change so real that others label it obsessive. Remember this. Write it down, repeat it to yourself. The consistency that unsettles others is the only consistency that lasts. When people look at you with a blend of respect and discomfort, when they quietly say, "That's not normal," behind your back, when they can't understand how you keep showing up without stopping, when they start inventing excuses to justify why they can't do what you do, that's when you know you've reached the level you were aiming for. Not because you're better than anyone else, you're not. Not because you're extraordinary, you don't need to be. Not because you have some rare talent, you don't. You're simply not the person you used to be. The old version of you is gone. The consistent, unbreakable version has taken its place. And that shift, that clear break from who you were and who you've become, is one of the most powerful and meaningful changes a person can make. If you've made it to this point, thank you for your attention, your focus, your willingness to consider a new way forward. Now go make your declaration. Start your practice. Begin your transformation. I'll see you in the next video, and more importantly, I'll see the new you in 90 days. The you that doesn't quit. The you whose consistency unsettles others. The you who finally kept the promise. The you who became unbreakable. Let's begin.